operatively takes time, takes aspiration. Sending love out in this simple matter. Naming kept me stum until I stepped off. One by one I peel the layers and give thanks. No fetish love, no totemic love. I speak from the yearning in my Johnny. See, I'm gap-toothed I was, and that became me wheel. The winds whistle through my lips when I speak and tell the things even I have forgotten. I just want to close on a piece which I was invited by a Norwegian online journal, an all-round sort of cultural activity in Oslo called New Poesy, to write a piece in Norwegian. And I'm half Norwegian and had somehow never engaged poetically with Norwegian. And I found myself dealing with Norwegian in English in this piece called Kropper. And I'm going to be reading you the final section of this piece. Nå som er kroppslig. When one arrives to language fully grown, it's fair to think, isn't it fair to think, that one's past body shape can be left blissfully in the dark, that one can start at a new one. Yet perhaps one should have imagined that this body would lack most of the somatic and cultural presumptions familiar to standard bearers of a language and a country where daffodils are not so much spring flowers as wandering clouds. Indeed, how reliable was this light-headed roaming, a state of cultural aphasia, and would one have to learn to embed the nursery rhymes, the cultural undercurrents and scaffoldings to sound and sense, create a developing infancy, a 3D speck of my shape and skin, or could one simply forego this one and carry on from a poetic imaginary, eerily free of white rabbits, split instead between Norwegian trolls and French childhood songs about bridges and ladies in medieval gardens? Som en stadig är. How does one keep one's body as one's own? What does this mean, the relative safety of boundaries? Could I make sure that what I call my body would remain in the transit from other languages, that it would hold this progression into English? And because I didn't know and wasn't sure, and since for a great number of people, for an overwhelming number of persons, for an overwhelmingly large number of persons, for an always growing number of persons, this is far from self-evident, this is not self-evident, this does not apply, this doesn't even begin to figure. I never knew for sure, some story for Noah, some story for no one, some never had a body to call their own before it was taken away, som aldrig hade en kropp de kunde kalla sin egen för den blev revet bort, som never had a chance to feel a body as their own before it was taken away, som fick aldrig uppleva en kropp som sin egen för den blev revet bort, som never had a chance to know their body before it was taken away, som fick aldrig känna sin kropp för den blev revet bort, some were never free to speak their body before it was taken up and taken away. Någon var aldrig fri till att se sin kropp för den blev lyftet upp och revet bort. Some tried their body on to pleasure in it before it was taken up, beaten, violated, taken away. Some took sin kropp på för att njuta den för den blev lyftet upp, slått, kränket, revet bort. Some had their body for a time, then it too was taken away, or parts of it. Som hade sin kropp i en tid, så blev den också revet bort, eller delar av den. Some thought they had their body safely, then were asked to leave it behind the door, or parts of it. Som trodde att de tryggt hade sin kropp bara för att bli bett om att la den bli igen, bak dörren, eller delar av den. Some hoped they had one safely, only to find it had to be left across the border, or parts of it. Som hoppet de tryggt hade en kropp, bara för att inse att den måtte bli igen över gränsen, eller delar av den. Some wanted to leave their body behind and couldn't. Some önskade att lägga sin kropp bak sig och kunde inte. Some could neither take it with them nor leave it behind. Some kunde varken ta den med sig eller lägga den igen. Some are laughed at, some spat out, some are dragged into the crowd. Some be led out, some spitted to, some be truppet in i mängden. Some bodies are forgotten in the language compound. Some immense pressures applied onto the forgetting of the ecosystem some escape from. Some bodies, like languages, simply disappear. Någon kroppar liksom språk blir simpelthen borta. Some or many are being disappeared. Någon eller många har blivit borta. some or many disappear. Noen eller mange blir borte. Some or many that disappeared arise in some or many of us. Noen eller mange som ble borte, reiser seg i noen eller mange av oss. Some arise in some or many of us. Noen reiser seg i noen eller mange av oss. Some that arise in some of us arise in many of us. Noen som reiser seg i noen av oss, reiser seg i mange av oss. Some that arise in some of us arrive in each of us. Noen som reiser seg i noen av oss, kommer frem i hver av oss. Thank you.